Let us learn the final chapter of the partnership series, and that is dissolution. What does the word dissolution mean? It means you're closing down completely. So let me start off the PPT slide, which will help you to understand this chapter in a better way. This is one of the most easiest chapter, okay? Only if you understand the concept of it. And most important part for all the students, this chapter comes for 6 marks in your board exam. And the chances are very high it can come for 8 marks this year, since from admission and retirement, most of the important things, that is capital adjustment, has been excluded. So take this chapter very seriously, practice very well, and I'm sure you will get 6 or 8 full marks in this chapter. So let's move on to the PPT slide. The first slide represent a nice image where two sides are being divided. That is because they have closed the business. That is what we mean dissolution. Now, usually in exam, they ask this question: what does dissolution of firm or dissolution of partnership mean? Dissolution of partnership is a very simple thing. It is just breaking the agreement, not the firm. Agreement can be broken for many reasons. Like, for example, a person has just joined the firm, a new admission in the business. You have to change the agreement, right? That is called dissolution of partnership, all right, or partnership agreement. But if we use the word dissolution of partnership firm, that means you're closing down completely. And there can be various reasons. Example, the court has put an order because you're doing some unlawful act, or maybe the company has become insolvent. The whole company is in major loss. So there can be various reasons. All right. This can be a theory part. Now let's understand what we do in dissolution. As you know, we are closing the business. Importantly, you should understand what are the things you're supposed to do when you close. Now, when you close the business, do you need the assets? You don't need it. So either you sell it out or it might be taken by some of the partners. And what about liability? The most important thing, liability has to be settled. Okay. Now in partnership, we always say partnership carries unlimited liability. What does unlimited liability means? Again, another theory question. It means that if the firm is not having enough of money, the partners have to bring money from their house, from their own pocket. All right. So that is what happens over here as well. If there are creditors and the firm is not having enough of money, the partners have to bring the money and pay that off. So liability is one of the most important aspect when we look into dissolution. So one rule which every student forget. Okay, this chapter is very simple, but there are small aspects which students forget. It's been very clearly mentioned over here. It's written, settle all liabilities in this order. They ask the order also in the exam. First, outsiders liability, second, partners loan, and third, partners capital. All three are liability, but this is the order of settling it. If the firm falls short of fund, the partners have to bring money from private assets. All right. And what is this point? You have to settle all outside liability and partners loan, even if it's not mentioned in the question. This is the point which I was talking about. Very important point. What happens in the sum is that the sum might be a very simple sum, but they will not clearly mention that the creditors have been paid. So students forget to record it. As I told you, whether it is mentioned or not in the question, you have to record it. That means the creditor has to be paid. You know what is the journal entry to pay the creditors, right? Creditors account debit to bank account. So that entry has to be posted. Now, what are the things you create? Like in admission, you created a revaluation account, something new for you. Same thing over here, you create a realization account. The word realize means to sell or to settle. Okay, in this particular chapter, the word realization, you should understand that if you say the asset realized, that means you sold the asset, okay, and you got the amount. So you create realization account, partners capital account, bank account, and partners loan account. One account is missing, right? One of our favorite accounts, balance sheet. Why is it missing? The reason is very simple. You're closing down the business, so where there will be no balance to be kept in the balance sheet. So there is no balance sheet required. So which account should tally? So in dissolution, only the bank account should tally. All right. So balance sheet, you don't have it because you're closing the business. But what is the account which should balance and tally? That is your bank account. That's how you know that your sum is complete and right. You create partners loan account. Again, it's very important thing. You just have one or two sums in the textbook where partners loan has been given. That is why students forget this part. Whenever partners loan is there, you have to definitely create a ledger. This is not your bank loan or partner's wife loan. This is partner's loan. I hope this concept is clear. Now let's move on to realization account. What is realization account? You realize all your assets and liabilities over here. Wherever you sell the asset, you record it. When you're settling the liability, you record it. How do you do it? Let's go step by step. The very first step is transfer all the assets from the balance sheet in the debit side. The journal entry would be realization to asset, and you will be writing transfer all, and you will be transferring all the assets. Now when I say all the assets, even the goodwill is included over here. But in admission, retirement, death, what did you do with the goodwill in the balance sheet? You distributed in the old ratio among the old partners. So don't get a hang of that and continue doing it in dissolution. So the things which have been written in red is for your to get your attraction and also focus, that these are the things which you don't do what you have done earlier chapters. Okay, so goodwill is transferred directly to the assets and the debit side of realization. Debtors, I have written gross. Now let's say that in the balance sheet you got a debtor of 40,000 minus PDD 2,000, so 38,000 is outside. All right, so let's say that I have got, I'll just write it down so that it stays in your mind. This is your balance sheet and it's written over here, debtors 40,000 minus PDD, that is provision for debtors, is 2,000. So in the outer column, what do you see? 38,000. Now this 38,000 is basically called in accounting language net debtors, and this 40,000 is called gross debtors. Now in dissolution, when you record things, when you transfer the assets, you will be transferring this 40,000 in the debit side. That's what I said, gross. And this PDD of 2,000, that's provision for doubtful debts, you will transfer in the liability side. That becomes your credit side. So you will not record 38, you will be recording 40,000, you'll be recording 40,000 and 2,000. I hope it's clear. So this is how you complete this part of the debtors. Now liability side, same thing. You transfer the all the liabilities over here. Now what are the liabilities? Creditors, loan, bills payable are your examples. Apart from that, there is IFR, which ideally what you do in other chapters, distribute among the partners, but in this chapter, IFR is transfer to the liability. EPF is your employee provident fund. All right, I have again mentioned the same line, except partners loan. I am just repeating myself so that it stays in your mind all the time, because these are the common mistakes which students keep on doing. Now after that, after the first and second step is done, you will find lot of adjustment. Let's give a small example. Debtors realized 10,000. I told you what is the meaning of realized. It means debtor has paid you. So what's my journal entry? Cash account debit to debtors account. Now I will not use the word debtors anymore because all the assets and liabilities are realized. So whenever a asset has to be credited, I will credit the word realization. So my journal entry would be cash account debit because cash came in to realization, not debtors. That means realization has to be credited. So if you see in the credit side, I have written buy cash, asset sold for cash. Same thing, asset taken by the partner, partner's capital debit to realization. All right, if partner takes an asset, the journal entry normally would be partner's capital debit to asset, that is to furniture. But over here, because all the assets and liabilities are realized, you will not use the word for as furnitures, machineries, creditors, bills payable. Instead of that, you will replace it by the word realization. All right. So just to put up in your mind as an image, assets are transferred in the debit side. Any transaction related to asset would be in the credit side. Same thing, liabilities are transferred in the credit side. Anything to do with liabilities, let's say the creditors have been paid off. Creditors account debit to bank? No, not creditors account. Instead of creditors, you will say realization to bank. So I will write realization to bank or cash. The word cash and bank is same thing. To cash you can write. So this is where you write all your liabilities which have been settled. All right. And once you complete the first, second, third, fourth step, only thing left is to find out the realization profit and loss, which will be transferred to the partner's capital. Again, look into these points which are there in blue color. Very important points. Goodwill IFR not distributed. Data should be put in the gross. These are some important things, very important things. Okay. Now let's move on to the next slide. The next slide is about your capital account. Capital account is more or less the same what you did in your earlier chapters. You write capital account, you transfer everything which is there in the balance sheet except IFR. So I have done that. I have written the balance over here, right hand side, transferred all the reserves. If there is anything in the asset side, like let's say P&L account, advertisement suspense account, you transfer it in the debit side because those are your losses. Realization profit and loss, you have to transfer again the liabilities and assets which have been taken by the partner has to be transferred accordingly. Let's say that over here the partner has taken asset in the realization, you credited it. What you do next in the capital, you debit it. So you should be doing all this adjustment together so that you don't forget to pass the second effect. I always recommend everyone to do all the things together by making an account, which we will be learning today in the later stage. So this is how you create your capital account. Whatever is the balance, as I told you, you don't have a balance sheet to transfer it. So whatever is the balance in capital account would be written as to bank or by bank, and it would be recorded in your bank. Okay, bank ledger. Now this is your bank ledger and this is your partner's loan ledger. Bank ledger, again the balance which I carried from the balance sheet, I will be writing it. Adjustments, I will be recording it. Partner's loan, if I have paid, I will be putting it over here. Partner's loan account, again whatever is the balance in the balance sheet, you have to transfer in the credit side. Don't do a mistake of putting it in the debit side. Put it in the credit side. If you're settling it by cash, you will write to bank. If you're settling it by asset, you will write to realization. Okay, now in this example, 2000 was the loan and the company paid him 1800. So 200 is left. It is kind of a profit because you settled him for a lesser amount. You transfer it to the realization. This is how you should understand. Then your bank should automatically get tallied and you understand your sum is done. Now let's look into the journal entries, because in the last 5 or 10 years of board exam, I have not seen any comprehensive sum. I have only seen journal entries. So you should be sure about the journal entries. The entries, I have divided it into three parts: asset, liability, and loan. Now, asset, if it is realized, as I told you, if an asset is realized, the journal entry is bank to asset, but you will not use the word asset. So you will be saying bank to realization. So whenever asset is realized, whether you are selling it or taken by the partner, R stand for realization, it's been credited. Okay, always look into this image of realization so that you don't forget realization is credited whenever you're doing something with the asset. Realization is debited when you're doing something with the liability. Same rules I have again put up as a journal entry. So this is how you pass the journal entry for asset. Liability, realization is debited, and if you're paying off, bank or cash would be credited. Taken by partner, partner has to be credited. Partners loan settled by cash. This is a very common journal entry, and students make a mistake of writing cash to partners loan. Partners loan is settled by cash. It means cash is going out, cash has to be credited. And what you will debit this time? Partners loan. If it is settled by asset, realization. And this is a last thing which I have very rarely, I mean, I can say 0.1 percentage, I have seen this adjustment where the partner is carrying a debit balance. Debit balance means partner is supposed to pay to the firm, same time partner has given a loan to the firm. Okay, so in such case, how do you settle it? You settle it using partner's capital. It is like I'm buying goods from you for 10,000. Same time you purchase some raw materials for 8,000. So will I give you 10 and you give me 8, or rather to keep it simple, I will give you straight away 2,000? It's a common sense, right? Same thing over here. Partners loan, partners loan, firm has to pay to the firm partner. Now capital having debit balance, that means the partner has to pay to the firm. So ideally, you just pass an entry in such a way that both the debit and credit is been sorted out. So this is how you write your journal entries. I hope the journal entries are clear. Let's look into some more journal entries so that you have a good idea about this chapter. The first journal entry, not seen much in the school also, is transferring of asset. The very first step, what did we see? Asset has been transferred in the debit side of realization. So realization to asset. Okay, unless you transfer it to the realization, you can't move ahead. Okay, so if there is a comprehensive sum and you are asked to pass journal entry, you have to start with this entry, or else everything will go wrong. So realization to asset is how you start. Then closing the liability, same thing, liability to realization. Now asset of 20,000 is sold or taken by partner by for 24,000. Now when we are realizing something, we should not bother whether we made a profit or loss because of one particular reason. And the reason is that you're closing the business. What you're going to do with the profit, or even if it's a loss, you are just simply selling off. You getting the cash, settling the liability or the partners. This is what the agenda is. So if I'm getting 20,000 sold, okay, the goods are of 20,000, I'm selling for 24. My only thing would be 24,000. So cash would be debited, realization would be credited by 24. I don't have to see the 4,000 profit or loss. Now let's look into the liability part. Settled for 18,000. Liability has been settled. Be very sure, don't use the word liability or asset anytime after the first and second journal entry. So if the liability has been settled, realization to cash. Now the fifth one is something new for you all. Liabilities were 20,000 settled by giving asset of 18,000. Liabilities settled with an asset. Now, when the asset is realized, you credit realization. When a liability is settled, you debit realization. So, you know what is the journal entry? Realization to realization, it means no entry. Understand this concept. It's a very simple concept, okay? But students do a lot of mistakes over here. So liability when get settled, realization is debited. Asset when realized, realization is credited. So there is no entry. Realization expenses is borne and paid by the partner. Again, another thing which most of the students go wrong. Now, the word borne means they have agreed. So the partner has agreed and he is paying. So that means the firm doesn't have to bother about that amount. All right. So firm will not write anything. So you will see no entry for such transaction. But let's say that it's only mentioned realization expense paid by the partner. In such case, what happens? Now, realization expenses, okay, usually has to be paid by the firm unless borne by the partner. Okay, so if realization expense is to be paid, is an expense, realization has to be debited. If you're paying by cash, to cash. But if it is paid by the partner, you will credit the partner. Realization to partner's capital. Why you credited the partner's capital? This is how the firm pays the partner. The seventh one, creditor of 8,000 having a credit term of 3 months settled at 10% discount. It means you paid your creditor at 10% discount, but that discount is per annum. Okay, we have to be very careful when the word per annum comes. Now, what is the credit term? 3 months. So how do I calculate the discount? Students do a straight away say the discount is 800, but 800 is for 1 year, not for 3 months. So you have to do 800 into 3 by 12 to understand what is the figure, and that is only the discount. So the creditor would be paid 8,000 minus the discount. So that's the journal entry. I hope that is clear over here. Now talking about your WCR. You remember WCR, what we did in the admission and retirement, right? Now over here also, there is a small change in WCR. Ideally, what happens is, I'll just show you that. In case of WCR, let's say it is 10,000. It's a reserve. There is no claim. Straight away, transfer it to the partner's capital. So I wrote it over here. But let's say if there's a claim of 6,000, how does the journal entry goes? WCR debit to, in admission retirement, you used to write to claim and put it in the balance sheet. Over here, you don't have balance sheet. So you will write to realization account 6K, the remaining 4K, transfer it to the partner's capital. Now, very important aspect of the thing, what I would like to tell you is that this is a claim, it's a liability. Again, every liability has to be paid off. That's why there is an immediate second effect to it. Realization to cash, 6K. Again, students forget this part. Okay, so you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful about this. Okay, and then comes the claim part. Claim is 12K. If claim is more, then what you do? Over there in admission, we had revaluation account where you recorded the loss of the claim. But over here, you don't have to do it. You will just write WCR to realization 10K, 10K. That means the entire WCR is put in realization. But when you're making the payment for the liability, you just make the payment realization to cash. Okay, realization is something which WCR is something which I have not seen in any of the board exam been asked. But having said that, we should always understand things because you never know how it will be useful in future. All right, so have a look into this part. It's not tough. Okay, just understand the journal entry. Now, this is a test paper. I would like all of you to attempt this test paper. You will have varieties of journal entries. This particular sum carries all the different aspects. The toughest parts aspect of dissolution given in the textbook is written over here. You might find it difficult. You might not understand. Okay, but give a attempt on this test and share it to me as PDF. I'll definitely look into it. I will give you the solution also. The solution will help you to understand this chapter much better way. Now, after this, what we are going to do is we are going to solve one comprehensive sum so that you understand how to do all these things. All right, so let's move on to a comprehensive sum. Let's look into sum number 19 from your textbook. This is a very nice sum to understand each and every aspect of this chapter. So Pradeep and Rajesh are partner with ratio 3:2. Pradeep is supposed to get 1,000 as commission for the dissolution expense, what he did. Balance sheet has been given, creditors, Mrs. Pradeep's loan, Rajesh loan, IFR is there. Asset side, you got building, investment, debtors, everything again. You got bank, you got profit and loss account, you got goodwill. So it actually covers all the aspect of dissolution. It will really test your understanding. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer. That's our first step, right? Transfer all the assets in the debit side. That means this side I will be transferring, and then I will transfer all the liabilities over here. So I will just transfer it and you will see. So now I have done the first step, that is I have transferred all the assets from the balance sheet to the realization account. Building, investment, debtors, bills receivable, and most importantly goodwill as well, which most students forget. Next step is to transfer the liabilities. So I transfer the creditors, Mrs. Pradeep's loan, and IFR. Okay, all of this has to be transferred, but when it's Rajesh loan, I would be transferring to the loan account of Rajesh. I will be writing straight away 24,000 in the loan account. And what happens to the capital? As you always do, write it in the capital account as 42,000 and 42,000. Now in the asset side, what are the things which we missed out? Did we miss something? Yes, we missed PDD. Always remember that part. You have to write the PDD as 4,000 in the credit side because the debtor is shown in the gross, right? 34. So PDD is also been done. Then bills receivable, bank. Bank is what? Asset. So the balance should be in the debit side. I will be writing 6,000. And then comes your profit and loss account. What do you do? It is in the asset side. Anything in the asset side should be given a debit balance, right? Debit effect. So I will be transferring it over here to PNL account. I just write PNL account. Pradeep and Rajesh should be getting this amount of 8,000. How fast can we divide this 8,000 by 3:2? Can we say it's how do you divide it? 8,000 divided by 5 into 3. So it is 4,800. If you get it's 4,800, you can make out it's 3,200. So this is how I did the posting. The posting carries 1/4 marks for one single posting. So when we do all this, we get at least 1 to 2 marks over here straight away. So the posting should not go wrong. Now let's move on to one by one the adjustment. Pradeep agreed to pay off his wife's loan. The liabilities are transferred here. If you're settling the liability, you transfer put it in the this side, right? Now, are we paying by cash? No, we are. Who is paying? The partner. So I will write Pradeep's capital and I will write this figure. What is the loan amount? 40,000. Now, these are your adjustment. Immediately, there should be a second effect. So this is the debit effect. In the credit side of partner's capital, you will write realization. And below Pradeep, you will write 40,000. So that completes the first entry. So I will be completing one by one all the entries so that you understand how quick can we complete a sum. Half of the debtors was realized, 12,000. Debtors were transferred debit side. So if you're getting money, you have to put it in the credit side, no, for debtors. So it is 12,000. Now, when I posted in the credit side, immediately there should be a debit effect, that is realization. I wrote 12,000. So that is also completed. And the remaining were used to pay off the 25% of the creditors. We have a creditor of 80,000. What is 25% of 80? 20,000. So 20,000 of the creditors has been settled. We learned one thing, right? If the creditor is settled by debtor, that means if a liability is settled with an asset, there is no entry. So only thing you have to remember is that creditor 60,000 is still left. Investment sold to Rajesh 27,000. Again, I will be writing it over here. Rajesh 27,000, and over here, because I credited, now I will be debiting and I will write the figure 27,000. So that is also done. Building realized 152. Realized means you sold for 152,000. So 152 is been put here. Immediately in the bank 152 you have to write. So that is also done. Okay. And then remaining creditors were to be paid after 2 months. They were paid immediately at 10% discount. What was the remaining creditors? We remember it is 60,000. They have been paid at a discount of 10%. So now how do we calculate it? First thing, where do you write creditors been paid? In the debit side. So you will be writing bank account. How do we calculate? Okay, I'll just show it over here. 60,000 minus the discount, right? 10% discount is 6,000, but importantly, it's a 2 months creditor, so 2 by 12. This is something which we have to understand. So basically, we got a discount of what amount? 1,000. So amount which we are going to pay is 59,000, right? So this is how we do it. 59,000 is what we paid to the creditor, and immediately in the bank credit side you will be writing realization 59,000. So that part is also done. Bills receivable were settled at a loss of 1400. Bills receivable is an asset. Settled at a loss of 1400 means we did not get this entire 37,400. We got only 36,000. As I told you, we are not concerned with the losses and profit. We are only concerned with the amount what is coming in, right? So I'm going to again write 36,000 in both the side. Now, once that is done, bills realization expenses. Expenses realization is basically a nominal account. So if you say realization expense, you have to debit it to 2,500. It only means that the firm has paid it. So bank I have written 2,500, and over here I will write realization as 2,500. So that part is also done. Now what we are supposed to do? We are almost completed the sum. We did the posting, we passed all the entries. Now only thing left is the calculation. So I would be calculating the realization account first. Okay, whatever profit and loss I will get, I will transfer to capital account. Okay, and I will not forget this part, Rajesh loan. Now the loan was 24,000. Before even we forget it, immediately we can write, because as I told you, at times the sum is silent, still you have to make the payment. So I have made the payment by bank, and immediately over here Rajesh loan. Okay, this is again something which we forget, 24,000. Now we can, before we complete the things, we can do one small check whether all the outside liabilities have been paid. Have you paid the creditors? Yes. Have you paid Mrs. Loan? Yes. So both my outside liabilities been paid. Let's imagine there was another item called bills payable and the sum was silent. Okay, let's say the bills payable was something like 5,000 and the sum was silent. In such case, you would have paid this bills payable also. How you will pay? Very simple. You will write here bank 5,000, and in the bank column you will write realization 5,000. This had come in one of the exams, in the board exam, where they did not say anything about bills payable and students forgot. So what I always advise students to do is, whenever they are closing the realization account, have a look into the credit side, liability side. So you have transferred two outside liabilities, so you have to settle it down. Some students even settle down the IFR and PDD. Now IFR and PDD is not an outside liability. All right, this is just a format of writing it. It's not an outside liability. IFR you don't have to give to an outsider. PDD is a assumption. You don't have to give to outsider. So don't settle all these things. Only settle outside liability and partner's loan. So that's how we complete a sum. Let's do the calculation also quickly, and let's tally this sum. Now what I have done is I have found out which side is bigger, the debit or the credit side. I noticed that the credit side is bigger, so I have written the figure over here. I have written 359 in both the side, and I have tried to find out the difference, and the difference is nothing but your realization profit, which is 31,500. This profit has to be transferred over here immediately. Okay, so once we are done that, we will close the capital account now. Now I have closed the Pradeep and Rajesh account. I saw that credit side is bigger, so I have written it over here as the balancing figure. Over here, same figure I have written in the debit side. I try to balance it now. I got that the bank account, as I told you, you cannot write by balance as in other chapters. You will be writing by bank. That's the balancing figure of 96 and 24. This would be immediately transferred to your bank account credit side. So you will be writing here Pradeep capital, and you will write Rajesh capital, and you will write the figure as 96 100, 24 400. Okay, and you just do the totaling. It should ideally tally if everything we have done is right. So we complete one comprehensive sum. Now tell me, how many marks do you expect in this 8 marker sum? Do you think you will get 8 out of 8? The sum is tallied, isn't it? But if you carefully see, there has been a small mistake which we did. So let's look into that mistake and understand what is the correction to be done. Everything is tallied. So we should have been 100% sure that everything has been posted rightly. But that is not the case all the time. So let me revisit the sum and point out the small aspect which I forgot. Now in this sum, we did all the posting, we did all the adjustment. One thing we read but we forgot is the 1000 commission part to be paid to Pradeep, right? So now I have recorded it over here. So Pradeep is getting 1000. Now what happens when we forget one aspect? The revaluation profit goes wrong. Now when we don't record this over here, the capital balance goes wrong. So ideally, the balance sheet had tallied earlier for 2 lakh 5, but actual tally figure should have been 2 lakh 6. So a small thing which we missed out had an impact on the entire 8 mark sum. We will lose half here, and probably 1 mark here. So you get only 6 marks despite of doing the sum so carefully. So I always advise my students to put a small circle on the figures which are outside the balance sheet. And when you're putting the figures of balance sheet as well, put a small tick mark with your pencil so that you're not missing out any figure. Now I can say my sum is perfect and I will get 8 out of 8 marks. Hope this video has helped all of you to understand this chapter properly.